Kim, it's starting to get cold here and I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I am such the beach girl and summer girl that, man, when winter comes, I want to hibernate.
So we do this thing here where we've got two seasons. We've got summer, which is incredible, right? Like you got to come check out a Pacific Northwest summer. It's beautiful. It's not humid. It's like in the low 80s, high 70s, low 80s all summer long. And then it just rains for 9 months straight. So we've got summer and we've got Prozac. So it's not a good time for about 9 months, and that is rapidly onsetting. So we've got the cold rain going on. We've got the wind. I lost power a few nights ago. That sucked.
Oh, no, we see all four seasons here. Like fall is, even though I hate the cold, it's probably one of my favorite times of the year because the leaves and it changing, it's absolutely gorgeous here. And then the summer is beach weather because I live 10 minutes from the beach. And then winter, we can see blizzards, we can see snow, we can see sleet, freezing rain. It's not fun.
Yeah, no. So at least you guys have the sandy beaches there. We've got the rocky kind of dangerous to walk on type of beaches.
Really?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, no. When people think of beaches in like the West Coast, they're thinking like Southern California or something, not where I live.
Oh no, you can lay out in the sand and sunbathe all you want here.
Yeah, I mean you could do that, but you'd probably get cut up pretty bad. So, Kim, we've got an interesting show. We got a good show.
I am so excited about tonight because I have like mad respect for each and every person as hustlers that are going to come on, and we're really going to talk about how to make money in this gig economy. And, I feel like we're going to learn from some of the best out there.
Some of the highest paid drivers out there specifically. Yeah. So, and Kim, I've been at this for what, 3.5 years now. I think you've got me beat by a little bit. And something that I've learned in my time driving is that you can learn something from just about anybody. So like just when I think I know it all, I hear something brilliant. I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Oh, I say that all the time. I say, the best ways of continuing to learning is honestly YouTube, right? It's stations like it's, RideShare Guy, it's other, YouTube channels. Like I still watch channels faithfully all the time because there's always so much. And not only that, these apps are always changing. Like I feel like you blink your eye and they change. I just went through a major change with DoorDash tonight before I even got on. So never know what's going to happen.
What changed?
And by time, baby.
Boo! Boo! So well, I might get crucified by some of the lovely folks on tonight. Who knows? I guess we're gonna find out. So we've got what, 6 guests?
Yeah, we do.
So that's gonna be a jam-packed show. So why don't we not waste any more time and let's start bringing these folks on. And Kim, I'll let you introduce them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to bring on Red from Gig Wars Official. We met Red in Colorado, so I'm excited that she's here today. We've actually met almost everybody in Colorado here today, which is actually pretty cool that we've met everybody in person. So
Red is a complete sweetheart too. She was just a joy to be around, awesome to hang out with, and great to get to know. So,
okay, with that being said, hey Red.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us tonight, Red.
Thank you so much for having me and the team.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, which apps you're on, what you do for Gig Wars Official.
So obviously I'm Red. I work in the Philadelphia suburb market. I started gig work in 2020 during the pandemic. I was a laid off restaurant manager and wanted to get out of the house and found out that I love it and actually make more money than I did at my W-2. So here I am and absolutely a blast.
Okay. And which apps are you on?
I am on just about every app. My main is DoorDash, Instacart. I do not have Shipt. I think that's the only one I don't have. Walmart Spark, Curry. Oh my God, I'm at a loss right now. Uber, Lyft. I don't do much rideshare. I do those when they have promos. Mostly food delivery. My two favorite apps are Instacart and DoorDash.
Okay. All right. And out of the two, if you had to pick one, which would you say you consistently make the most on?
DoorDash.
Okay. All right, cool. And what do you do for the Gig Wars official team?
So that's my channel. And really, it was just about hanging out, having people come with me while I'm working, so I was no longer alone. But I started doing competitions because I'm competitive in nature, and it was just fun. And it wasn't just me having fun; everybody else was having fun too. And we started with a scoreboard that actually Cody can tell you more about because he's the one who did it. But we knew that as we were
Sorry.
fast forward a little bit, I met Gary, and now we have an app. So Gig Wars Official is all about friendly competition to have fun while we work and motivate you to make just a little bit more money.
Awesome. Awesome.
Right.
And you guys have a really killer team there too.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm probably, if they could get rid of me and replace me, they'd do even better.
So we see the numbers you guys post. I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? Like, you guys blow most drivers way out of the water. So looking forward to the conversation tonight.
So I know you launched in Canada, right? Was it this past week or the week before? And you have something else coming up. So why don't you talk to us about where you're launching and what's coming up?
So actually, when we went to Denver, the app was technically available in Canada, but we didn't do any promotion on it until recently. And we have a handful of Canadians on the app. I'm aware of at least 7 or 8, maybe even more. I do have an influencer in Canada. He's primarily on TikTok, but he does have a YouTube following also, and some Instagram. But he was doing competitions in Canada. And when he explained to me what he was doing to keep track, I was like, oh my God. Anyway, this app makes his life so much easier. And to officially launch the app in Canada, we are going to war this weekend. So the Gig Wars official team, the 6 drivers that you are all going to meet tonight, versus we did allow 7 drivers in on the Canadian team because he had another one and we didn't want to deny anybody the fun, right? So come on, go ahead. You have 7. We're not worried. We're still going to beat you.
We gotta correct for inflation.
Yeah. So
The conversion rate.
The event is already scheduled in the app. All drivers are logged in. And so this Saturday, it's a 24-hour war. It begins at 12 o'clock Eastern time and goes through 11:59 for each of us in our own time zones. So theoretically, the war actually goes on for 25, 26 hours because we've got Fellon in California and Hawaii, obviously in Hawaii. The event will be live streamed on the Gig Wars official channel, so we encourage everybody to come hang out with us in the chat. All drivers will be on panel for the duration of the war. Some of the Canadians might join in too. Because we're going to have so many people on panel, we're not going to display the score like on the live stream as we usually do. So to follow us in real time, because it will be real time. The American team has a schedule for inputting our numbers. So each of us have to put our numbers in at least once an hour. So like I go at the top of the hour, then Cray at 10 after, and so forth. So those numbers are going to be ever changing. So in order to follow the score, you got to download the app, and it's right there on the main page because it's an official war. So we would love to have you guys all like cheering us on and talking a little bit of smack against Canada.
I gotta say, I love the rivalry between the U.S. and Canada. Half my family is in Canada, So I think that kind of exists in my family a little bit. It's always like the US versus Canada.
Zach, you don't understand. The reason we launched in Canada first is because I am Canadian. So I'm going against my own people.
Fair enough.
So
Fair
before
enough.
we bring everybody else on, so what market are you? Are you in Philly, right? Okay.
Always live. Always
Sorry,
live.
I lost my earbud.
That's okay. That's okay. And which market are you in?
Me, I'm in the Philadelphia suburbs.
All right, cool. So, Kim, who do we have up next?
Okay, so we'll just kind of go in order. So up first is Gign. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you guys?
We are
Good. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Yeah, quickly tell us a little bit about yourself. If you have any social media you want to plug, which apps you're on.
Yeah, so I am Josh, Gign the Great North on YouTube. Been in the YouTube space a while, but that's my gig channel. I work full-time doing W-2 work as a quality control engineer, and then I do about 40 to 50 hours of gig work on top of that. Mostly Amazon Flex is my big one, and then DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, Spark, Curry, Roadie, Para, and Delivered.
So you were like literally just all over the freaking board there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And which market are you
done
in?
RideShare, but Minneapolis.
Me neither.
Minneapolis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, cool. So another
So
big
we have
city.
the Midwest covered.
Right on. So, and out of those apps, if you had to pick just one, which would you say is your favorite?
Flex.
Okay. All right, cool.
I'm very blessed. Our base rate is actually $24 an hour, where a lot of markets is only $18.
Okay.
And I can fairly consistently get about $30 an hour plus on my blocks when they surge.
I'm jealous because I've been on the wait list for Flex for 1.5 to 2 years, and I can't get on. So I'm jealous.
Let me ask you this. If you're doing a Flex run, can you multi-app like a DoorDash along the way if it lines up?
I mean, technically I could. I'd rather knock it out than because most of the time when you get a set of packages, they're in a couple neighborhoods. So versus leaving the neighborhood to go do a pickup and then coming back, I'd rather knock it out and be done. Like I had a 4-hour block tonight, 30 stops that once I got to the first one, I had it done within an hour.
Wow.
Okay.
So yeah,
Then
I was on my way back home and I was trolling DoorDash back to here.
All right, cool. Who do we have up next, Kim?
Okay, we're going to bring up Cody next.
Hey guys, how are you all doing?
What's up, Cody?
How are you?
Good to see you again.
Zach. So I'm Cody. I am the producer over at Gig Wars. I do a lot of the stuff you see behind the scenes. I keep things held together and stuff from back there and stuff. At the beginning, I was basically a scoreboard too. So people would have to like text me or mention in the chat or holler, "Hey Cody, add this to my numbers, add this, add that." And it was all being put in on a Google sheet, like spreadsheet thing. And then I was screen capturing that to display it to people. And then Gary came along and now we're to this nice app that we got now.
So you were kind of like doing it bookie style there for a bit.
For a little bit, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. And Cody, which apps are you on, man?
I have a whole list. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Deliver That, Delivered, Parworks, Curry. I'm missing some. Roadie. Some I don't use as much. There's a few other ones there. Can't think of what they are. But my main one out of them is I use DoorDash a lot, but Curry and Deliver That seems to be almost starting to it. Like DoorDash about 2 months ago was about 80% of my income. And now I would say it's down to about 50. And Curry and Deliver That have taken over those spots and actually has increased a little bit more. So Curry is one of those apps that a lot of people haven't heard of. Do you mind giving just a brief high-level overview of Curry? It's a last mile delivery app. Basically, from my experiences, it's paint, stuff going to construction sites. It could be integration between stores and stuff. Most of the ones I've carried was paint, and I had one that was electrical equipment that was going to the local electric company. And what it looked like to me is they were building the transformers you see up on the poles and stuff, and it was for these metal pieces that they were needing at the last minute. And that was one of the most recent ones I've done.
Okay.
It seems like to be the last minute stuff that people need very quickly for the most part, from what
I got a text from a friend of the show, and actually, you know what? You guys probably met him in Denver, Nathaniel. And he sent me a screenshot of a curry run that he was offered a couple days ago. It was picking up in Vancouver, Washington, so like right by Portland. And it was driving it to, it was supposed to go to, I believe, Ottawa, Ontario in Canada. This run was paying $4,000.
What?
$4,000. So it was working out to be about $2 a mile. So if you guys haven't heard of Curry yet, there typically is a wait list, but check it out. It's one of those apps that's not really oversaturated yet. And there's some killer money.
They're very choosy on how many they bring on to each area.
Can we get Cray Cray on here next? I know she mentioned she may not be able to stay for the whole show. So let's get her on here. And
hi, Cray
what's going
Cray.
on, Cray Cray?
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going?
Good. Thank you for joining us. So,
no problem.
Oh, really quick. I'm so sorry. Cody, which market are you in?
I'm in Southern Illinois, but I'll typically say I'm like in the St. Louis market because St. Louis is like 50 miles from me.
Okay, cool. And your market's smaller, right?
Yeah. I work in two different markets. One is I typically work in the suburb areas of St. Louis, but on the Illinois side. But there's some small town markets that's closer to me that I'll work also. So I've on both sides where I've been in more of the suburbish area and then to the small town, 10,000 people type stuff or less.
Okay, cool. Cray Cray.
Okay, Cray
which
Cray,
apps are you
you're
on?
up next.
Hi, I'm Cray Cray. I'm the Gig Wars official brand ambassador. As you can see, I'm representing tonight. Kimmy's got a merch store. Check it out. I'm in the Jacksonville, Florida area. I'm just like Cody. I'm a big multi-apper. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Deliver That, Curry, Roadie. I just got on GoPuff, ParaWorks, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple, but yeah, Amazon Flex. I mean, yeah, I'm all over the board. And I have a full-time W-2 that I work tonight. So, yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yes.
And you said Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, Florida, yes.
Okay, cool. All right, who do we have next?
Okay, we're going to bring on Dashing Fellon on next.
What's going on,
Hi,
brother?
Dashing Fellon. How are you?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
I'm the Dashing Fellon. My name's Nick. My YouTube channel is at Dashing Fellon. And I do gig work like pretty much full time. And I do DoorDash primarily, but I also multi-app when I use Walmart Spark, Roadie, Deliver That, Shipped. And I'm on the wait list for the rest, or I've been declined because of my record, because I'm called the Dashing Fellon because I do have a record.
Okay. And
what?
Man, let me tell you, it's not about the past, it's about the future.
Exactly.
So, and which market are you in?
I live in Southern California. I'm a little north of LA. I do in the suburbs of north of LA.
Okay, cool. And out of all of the apps you're on, which is your favorite, would you say?
DoorDash is like my primary earner just because it's the most reliable in my market. But I've been getting a lot of earnings from just a couple orders of Deliver That after my DoorDash shifts. Because I like to get out my DoorDash shifts usually out of the way in the morning, except for a couple hours at night. But
okay,
yeah.
So I'm like low key jealous of all of the catering apps, so I can't get any of those in my market. So
Really?
You
You
guys
can't
are-
get anyone?
not that I'm aware of.
Not even ParaWorks? And
No, well, I've been harassing Steve and David.
okay.
I've been
If
harassing
it,
them.
if it helps,
I
it
haven't.
literally. I say if it helps, it literally just got to my market like a month ago, so it's brand new to my market, and I'm loving life. So if you can get it
Nice.
in your market, do it.
Okay. We've got one more person.
One more. Yeah.
So this is a gentleman that we've had on the show before. Boots, what's up, man? You're muted too, bro.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on?
Man, happy to have you.
I think
of
the
course,
chat
y'all-
was taking bets if you were going to be working.
well, yep. But of course, I am Dash Your Life Hawaii. Everybody calls me Boots. I am the $114,000 DoorDash driver out of Hawaii. DoorDash is my only app. I don't work any other apps. Of course, my market is Hawaii, Honolulu, Oahu primarily, and I've been doing some photo shoots, magazine articles, and podcasts I have lined up. I'm also on Instagram at Dash Your Life Hawaii. I have a Facebook page at Six Fig Dasher, and I am on TikTok as the Six Fig Dasher.
Okay, cool. So
I do have another Facebook page too. My other Facebook page, which is my main page, is Ronald C.I. for Life Coleman. So I'm on that page.
And we had such a good discussion when we had you on last time. The chat was popping. Everybody wanted to ask questions, had opinions. So we're going to do that, but we're going to do it on a much bigger scale tonight. So let's jump into something that the media specifically has been talking about a lot lately. Kim, we've been seeing news stories about the pop-up on DoorDash specifically that says that basically tells the customer if they don't tip that their order might be delayed. So I'm just curious to whoever wants to chime in on that. Do you guys think that's a good thing, a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing. I don't know that we're gonna feel any effect from it because people who aren't gonna tip, they're just not gonna tip. I can tell you that I personally did that recently when I was on my way home from Canada a few weeks ago, and it was very irritating for me not to tip that dasher. Like I had to go through several steps. Now, obviously, we all knew I was going to tip her cash, but I was doing an experiment, and I received my food on time, hot. I made her to hand it to me at a hotel. Like I did everything possible to make this order not show up. Nope, it showed up. It was a brand new dasher, under 30 deliveries. So not only did she get a very generous cash tip, but she got a lefty too, because I had a little conversation with her. Like, please don't do this.
That shit you just did just now, don't do it again.
Exactly. But I mean, so I just firsthand experienced it that not tipping your driver does not have a negative effect on your experience.
Yeah.
I'm Ron. Ron? Yep.
I'm going to mute Ron until he comes back.
So, all right. I'm going to throw out my perspective on this real quick, and anybody who wants to counter me or jump in after, please feel free. So my market just took a a 75-cent reduction in base pay. We went from $2.75 to $2. So, and along with that, we're seeing doubles as low as $1 per order. So $2 doubles. So they did this right as they were rolling that out nationally. So basically, they're widening that gap between what they're paying and what they're expecting the customer to make up. So do I think it's a start? Absolutely, right? Like I don't want to deal with non-tipping customers. It's a huge portion of our income. But at the same time, I also think that it would be perfectly reasonable for DoorDash to pay like a $5 base pay.
I think I'm with you on that. I really am. I also think it's kind of like a way for them to, like you say, the base pay. I noticed that too. My base pay went from $250 and $225, depending on which market I'm in, down to $2. Now I am still seeing majority order split the old $225, $250 base pay, but they slipped that one in there. But I have noticed a lot of 50-cent, $1.50 tips on higher base pay orders recently. And that my assumption is maybe it's that message. So you're getting maybe 50 cents or $1.50 out of the people, which I guess is a tip, but it's not a tip, So
Yeah.
I'm I don't know if it's the right. To me, it just seems like if you don't pay more, you're going to get less service than the person who does pay more. They're trying to tell the customer. But some people maybe will feel guilty and will tip, which I think is what I'm seeing on those lower ones, that a little guilt comes in. But I don't know if it's going to make a big difference in the long term. I think it's just maybe a short-term thing.
See, I think the opposite. I think that if someone is choosing not to tip, that no matter if you get a notification or not, they're still going to choose to not tip because that's what they were originally going to do anyway. So I said I want to see the statistics like a week, a month in, just to see how many people turned around to actually tipping.
I agree with Kim, but I also think that there's some people that, like some people said in the chat, that they don't want to tip in advance. So I think that maybe putting that notification there might give them an incentive to put like a little $3-4 tip in to make their order a little more presentable, and maybe give the cash tip at the end if their service was good. You see what I mean? Like I could see that a lot. I see we could be getting more of those orders because right now we're declining those orders because we're just assuming there's no tip at the end, So it could be a good thing for us, people that like pick through our orders. That's what I think.
And I
have a question. I have a question for you guys. I ordered off of Uber Eats tonight for dinner. And when it went to the tipping screen, it said, "It's raining outside. Be generous." Anybody seen that?
I've seen something similar.
Yeah.
You have? Okay. Because I haven't seen it before, even when it was raining. So I didn't know if it was new or if other people had seen that. But I was just like, wow. And they were pretty straightforward about it. They didn't beat around the bush, So, yeah.
Real quick. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Lucas.
Why should Dasher get a base pay if you volunteer to be a 1099 worker? You want W-2 benefits that will only affect overall regulations of your career path on all platforms.
I'd love to take that one.
Yeah.
So, okay. We're using our own vehicles. We're using our own gas. We're on our own time and not making an hourly rate. So if you want somebody to provide a service that you could have otherwise done for yourself, then that's base pay.
I always say that I wish, and I think we all say this all the time, is if they would just raise base pay, if, it would stop a lot of conversations we have with each other and other Dashers, right? It would solve a lot of problems, but we will never, I honestly believe we will never see a base pay increase. I think we're only going to see it decreasing because that's how they're making their money.
Or disappear.
I have several opinions on this topic. First, I want to ask the question, do you guys feel that with the props and the hourly wages that they have, is that the reason why base pay dropped?
You're talking specifically like earned by time, right?
No, not earned by time is one, but then you got Prop 22 out in California, then whatever they did with Uber out in New York. So I asked that question because if they have to pay those drivers. Do you think that it affects us as a whole with the base pay dropping, and that's why we're seeing a drastic drop?
I think it affects the companies as a whole, but I think also the drop nationwide, that's padding them to actually be profitable for their stockholders.
I have a comment on this because I live in California, and I have Prop 22, so there is a little bit of regulations on my apps and stuff. So like, but so overall, I think Prop 22 is a great thing. But the reason why I don't think it affected the companies so much so that Dasher Life Hawaii is saying is because they put in the law in Prop 22 that the companies could pass on that as a service fee under taxes, right? So like every single order on DoorDash, whether you have the Dash Pass or not, has a service fee that's a couple bucks to like up to like $5. I've seen it as high as $5 on my orders, and I don't order a lot, you know. And so there's a service fee for orders, and they were able to pass the costs on like that. So I think. But the only way they regulated the apps is that I can't like dirty multi-app. I can't pick up an Uber Eats order and a DoorDash order at the same time because they're paying me for my active time, earned by time, basically.
Well, when it comes to the tipping thing, it's basically those that will and those that won't. What I do at night, when I get done with my orders or my day or my shift, I go in and I go to my earnings and I look at every order, and every order that I have always has a tip on it. It may not be the tip that everybody expects, but it has the tip on it. And as a driver, I can't say I don't get no tip, no trip, because if I got a base pay of $4 and then I get a tip of 16, I know somebody's gonna say it's your market, it's your zone. I understand that, but I will be lying saying that I don't get tips. So do I want a little extra sometimes? Yes, but does it always require to someone's financial state? No. So when it comes to the tipping, even the post has been out since we left Denver. It has been out about 6 months, maybe 4 to 6 months. And only reason people started talking about it is because it hit national news. But when it first came out, Sir Elizabeth did a story on it, and no, everybody was quiet about it. But that message has been out since about 4 or 6 months. And customers still going to tip. They have, even though they may have seen it then, it wasn't a problem until it hit the national news. Whoever's going to tip you are going to tip you, whether they tip you in cash or whether they tip you on the app. They're going to tip you.
Really quick, I want to. Sorry, before we get too far into this, I want to thank Dante Clark, I believe, Dante, and Thomas. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. And I want to come back to Lucas's question. Thank you again, my friend, at the end of the show. So let's jump into another topic if we can segue here. So each one of you makes a substantial amount of money. You guys post your numbers publicly and you guys rake it in. What tip would you give? What advice would you give to somebody when they say it's slow?
For me, it's all about adjusting. I don't work close to my house because by my house, it's all fast food. And I'm not getting tipped off fast food. So I make that adjustment and I actually drive between 40 and 45 minutes away from my house to a better market where it's a higher income level neighborhoods. And I don't see that many no tip offers or lowball offers or whatever. Here, that's all I saw when I tried to, do close to home out of convenience. So it's all about adjusting. If you're able to go out and explore different neighborhoods, where, if you're in a lower income neighborhood and just go out and explore and find out what works for you. I had to do quite a bit of exploring and just finding out where the restaurants are, where the higher volume restaurants are, the higher price restaurants are that are on DoorDash. I use my DoorDash app just to explore those places. And, you know, it works out for me in the end. You know, it's a little bit of work doing that research, but yeah, I'm better off for it because I make a lot more money and see more consistently. Like I'm in the large order program. Yeah, I get those, you know, pretty, at least a few of those orders throughout the day, and I'm only part-time. So that's the advice that I would give.
So when you say the DoorDash app, just to clarify, do you mean the DoorDash customer app to see like what's around and what's open?
Yep.
All right. So
because they're consistently adding restaurants like all the time.
Pay attention to that, people. That is a huge wealth of knowledge. Don't the hotspots in the app are one thing, but the Dasher app is going to show you what is actually open, available, and likely going to be busy because they're running promotions.
Yeah, that's the biggest part too. Open for people that work late and early.
And those promotions. That's where a lot of the orders are going to be. Now, if they're at a restaurant that's normally slow and they have a big promotion, go the opposite way. Don't sit next to the Wingstop if it's slow and you don't want to be waiting for an order to be finished or something for a half an hour to 45 minutes. Because if you sit there, I guarantee they're going to send you every order they possibly can from there. And you're going to be having to decline and sift through that stuff to get that better order.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I also, when I look at the DoorDash app, when I look at the DoorDash app, I do it almost every night for like what time closing times are. But I look at also the wait times at the restaurants to see how busy they are. So I know if orders are coming into those restaurants. So I know to go to that restaurant, not go to that restaurant, where the own personal hotspots are for different restaurants.
Yeah. So, and something else that Cray Cray said really kind of hit home with me too. So you said that you drive 45 minutes to not be around a bunch of fast food. And that's something that a lot of drivers don't think about, right? Like if your market only offers fast food, you're going to get fast food pay. Mm-hmm. So I everybody knows this, every market is unique. Every market is different. And in mine, most drivers will wait at the mall or they'll like go downtown or something like that. And they're all clusterfucked together. You know, you've got 20 drivers waiting at the mall for an order. And I'm like 3 miles away, like 2-3 miles away. And I'm positioned in an area that has fewer places to pick up from. But every place that I'm near is like higher end. And there's like, I'm typically the only driver that's waiting in that like mile, well, maybe not mile, but in that immediate vicinity. So when something comes through, I get it.
Yeah, I'm looking for sushi restaurants, Thai restaurants, the higher end mom and pop places, the higher end pizza joints. You know, I'm doing that research, and you know, it pays off for me. Yeah, I don't stay by the Pizza Hut or all that. And the McDonald's, and everybody knows I hate Popeyes. I won't do it. You know,
Me neither.
It can be a diet. Yeah. It's just horrible. So that place that I actually work out of has very minimal fast food at all. Maybe one Taco Bell. That's it.
So essentially what I'm hearing you say is you're working, like you're kind of outsmarting other drivers in a way, not to be a dick towards anybody, but essentially you're outsmarting. You're thinking logically, what is going to pay more and where can I be to make that happen?
Yeah. And also, like you guys said, pay attention to the promotions. So it pays off, especially if you're on the catering apps. You can get those catering offers as fill-ins, right? For when the days are slow on DoorDash, when the days are slow on Uber Eats, those apps just aren't going off. But then you get one or, me, I get at least one a day, if not 2 or 3. My biggest stack I've ever had was 4 caterings in a day. So if that's my advice also as fill-ins is research those catering apps, deliver that, Paraworks and yeah. So always have a plan to make consistent amounts of money for when it is slow. Always have those other apps on the back burner to rely on, and just in case there's like a slowdown during the day. Not every Monday or Tuesday is going to be profitable, but Monday and Tuesday are the two busiest days for the catering apps in the week. So just some advice.
I have a tip for when it's slow that I like to do is this is like with food delivery, like DoorDash is probably like where it's like going by like hotspots and GPS and stuff. Where like if I notice that's like getting slow in my area, like the hotspots refreshed a couple times or whatever, I'll like drive in a roundabout way around my area, and I won't go to like necessarily hotspots and on my path, but I'll go to a hotspot, and then because I have a wild theory that DoorDash sends you more orders when you're moving, right? But because it seems to happen like that. But also on your way to the hotspot, if you're passing restaurants, I take a path that passes restaurants that aren't in hotspots, right? So no one's parked near them. And so then you'll like your phone will be like an order magnet sometimes and yank an order that's just placed driving by, and then that's what I like to do if it's slow.
I think there's some truth. I want to get to Boots here in a second. I think he was raising his hand a minute ago, but I think that there's some truth to what you're saying, because I think we've all had that moment where we get frustrated. We're like, screw this, I'm going home. You start moving, and then all of a sudden you get, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, they all start going off all at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boots,
Okay,
were you?
Boots, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna say. Just I constantly stay moving. Even if I'm in a hot spot, I'll ride around like the restaurants, like Fellon said, and I'll stay in the parameters of the hot spot so I can connect to all the restaurants. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a hit. You're sitting there, 10 other drivers are sitting there, or you're there in that vicinity. It's all going to come down to the numbers of the drivers that you're around. So if the driver around you have the numbers that are higher than yours, you're most likely going to get some trash orders while they get the best offer possible. So when it gets slow for me, I just either toggle back and forth. I toggle on the shop and pay, and I toggle it off. Once I toggle it on, I get a shopping order. I might go do it, or I might not, and then I'll turn it back off, and the orders are still come back in. So it's all about the person. Like when you're doing the apps, it's all about the person not getting frustrated because it's slow or they consider it slow and try to push through it.
I want to put Cody on the spot for a minute, if we can. Do you have something specific that you do when you think it's slow, or have these folks covered it pretty well?
When it gets slow for me, what are we defining as slow? Exactly.
When you're just sitting around waiting for an order, and I'm asking you specifically because you're in a smaller market.
Well, when I'm in the smaller markets and it gets slower, I hate to say it, it's usually patience, and it picks up when it's in a really small market. Now, if I'm closer in the suburbish areas that I'm going to also, there's 4 zones. So I'll switch zones. I'll go to another zone, work there for a little bit. I've learned in my area, though, and this ain't going to help a lot of other areas, but it might a little bit. I've learned that at certain times of the day, there's going to be these slow down times in some areas, but not in others. If everybody is crowding, and like some are saying, is crowding and waiting for an order, and it is a slow 2:00 in the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon, don't expect to get an order. Go where the people are not at. And that's what I'll do. There's areas where, there's areas that no people will ever want to deliver or travel in. And whenever I can go there at those slow times, and I'll typically get decent orders. But it's when it gets to be more around the dinner time and other times, I can go back into the areas where I prefer to be. So yeah, there's the prefer to be area, the comfort level. I can't really work directly from my home. The closest area to me is about 20 minutes away. And when I want to work there, yeah, it's going to be slow. you get lucky sometimes with shopping. You can enter multi-app, as many apps that is available in an area. If it's slow, they all need to be on. And people say, well, it's too much. You can't handle that. Well, that app that you're wanting to work is just slow right now. You need to break out another one or be willing to go elsewhere at times.
I was going to actually ask you guys this, like during slow times, and I'm talking like mid-afternoon, even sometimes like mid-morning when food delivery isn't popping. What apps do you use as a multi-apper to keep the wheels going? Is it Instacart? Is it, catering? What do you use during the slow times?
What I do is I'm typically either trying to record on my phone at the same time, which inevitably DoorDash always goes off when I'm trying to record every time. Or I'm tapping on Amazon waiting for blocks to surge. But yeah, most of the time I'm like in between because I can take my laptop for my W-2 anywhere. So I can work on the road, go do, like I did a catering order today, then went and worked my W-2 stuff. And then once DoorDash started going off in the afternoon, I put that away and started doing DoorDash.
That's something he's pointing out, catering orders. I was going to say with that, most of these catering orders are scheduled ahead of time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're getting them a day ahead of time. So you can actually revolve your schedule around them is what I usually do. I had 2 of them today. One was at 8:30 in the morning. So I did a little bit of DoorDash and Uber Eats breakfast. It didn't really make a whole lot for it, but I made that catering order is what paid for that shift. And then lunchtime rolls around and I started off with that. And then I decided to turn on DoorDash, and the first order they offer me is a catering order after I do another catering. So I ended up doing 3 catering orders between 8 o'clock and noon and already made $200 just because I scheduled 2. And then, with DoorDash or any of the on-demand food delivery like that, it's just going to be timing and stuff. There are certain times of the day when typical catering orders will come out. Now, there's always people order a lot of stuff, can happen at any time, but there are always times when they'll typically come out.
So, Cody, when you're Boots, you had a thought?
Oh, I just use DoorDash.
Okay.
I was going to say that I use DoorDash, and then I use mostly Walmart Spark and Road Use CVS pickups as a buffer. And I use the catering apps too.
Cody, I'm curious, when you're driving in a small market, well, I guess the actual question is, what's your acceptance rate on DoorDash?
It fluctuates. I do the Top Dasher thing for the ability to go online anytime I want to. So, because in that smaller market, even at the 3 p.m. schedule, I like the convenience. If I have stuff I have to do at home at times to go there, I'm dealing with family stuff right now too. And being able to stay close to home at times can be very useful. And I can do Spark, DoorDash, Instacart there. I can't do Uber Eats or Grubhub though, but I can do the others there. And Spark seems to be pretty decent over there. And then DoorDash is this kind of secondary there at times. So what was the question again? Exactly.
I was curious what your acceptance rate is roughly.
Like I said, it fluctuates.
Okay.
Right now I'm like 42%.
Okay.
It's the middle of the month, and yeah.
Okay. Now,
one thing about us, every single one of us is a Top Dasher, and every single one of us is in the LOP, and every single one of us will do anything we have to do those last few days of the month within reason to maintain those stats. So that we
most of us are prioritized for shop deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I believe actually takes the most priority is the shop and the LOP. Because when I'm at a lower AR, that's all I see. And I like doing shop orders. I actually do. Most of them pay pretty decent. That's where I make a lot of my money from DoorDash, is shop and LOP. And when I drop below 50, that's all I see. I do not hardly ever see food orders. I just see shopping order after shopping order after shopping order. And then here's a catering order. Now here's a shop. I'm going to see some $2 ones just pop in there that no one wants. So, and then when I get above 50, I see all the 5s, the 6s, the food, short run food orders. I start seeing. So that I do notice some differences between it. But when I like to do shopping more, I don't really, I figured out that's the best way to be getting the most shopping orders.
So I'm curious, for anybody who does shopping orders, have any of you guys just had some really weird shit ordered that you're like, I don't know if I want to check out with this?
Yes.
Yep.
Of course.
CVS, they got the KY, the vibrators, all that stuff.
Hey, see, it's not really checking out that concerns me. It's when I look at the order and see if it's handed to me or leave it at my door, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, these people have the audacity to check hand it to me when they ordered this shit. I can't even believe it. Excuse my French.
My favorite are the substitute. My favorite are the substitutions. Like getting a substitutions on one of those items. Yeah, that's fun.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's just that I don't do a ton of shop and pay orders, but I've never had anything really like, whoa.
Really?
Well, Walgreens and CVS here, they sell the adult toys. So if they do it in your area, you'll get them.
I've had one of them, but the weirdest to me was the 7 pregnancy test.
7? Are they like different brands?
All the same brand. 7 of them.
Maybe they're in denial.
And it was going to an apartment.
Okay.
I had a $20 Target that was 3 pregnancy tests. That was great.
I had a delivery with three plan. It was 3 Plan Bs, a pregnancy test, and some condoms.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? All right, I'll tell you what. It sounds like they at least learned from their mistake, though. So, yeah, Plan A, Plan B, Plan C.
See, I love shop and delivers because I like run through the stores practically, and I know all my stores really well. So like I get a shop and deliver that they think I'm gonna get done in 30 minutes, done in like 5 or 10. You know, so I'm getting paid like a lot more for that shop and deliver than you would think because I'm getting another order right after. Like.
So, which app, in your guys' opinion, is the most underutilized? Which app, like, do you think more drivers should just go and get activated on?
Or don't say it because it'll be oversaturated. I'm just kidding.
Walmart Spark.
I like Roadie for, like, I know in my market at 138, the prescription orders dropped. So if I can get like a prescription route, then I know I'm golden. I think my best one was done in under an hour, and it was like $54. Easy breezy.
That's what I was about to say. Roadie, since they got the CVS contract, it's been nothing but CVS orders on there, like $9 0.5 miles, $9 1 mile, and their pickup is always ready.
The early morning Home
I
Depot
can't
runs
get
on
Roadie.
or long run airport luggage deliveries.
It's the one
I can't get Roadie to work in my area at all. Like everything I see is like 15, 20 miles away. And it amazes me because how close I am to like the tri-state area, but I can't get anything on Roadie by me.
Are you going just off the notifications or are you actually looking at the app?
No, looking at the map.
Okay, yeah, because I don't ever get notified for anything in my city ever. I only get notifications from other cities. I have to look at the app and refresh all the time just to see if I can pick up anything. And I just use this as a buffer. I make like $30 a week off this, maybe.
Yeah, I scope them out because I live 30 minutes away from the city, so I drive up there every day. I scope them out and I'll try and offer on one before I even leave the house. And then as soon as if I get it, then I'm out the door.
Something you said struck a chord. I've looked at Roadie and I've seen SeaTac at the airport in Seattle. Mm-hmm. You can keep yourself busy quite literally all day.
Oh yeah,
with those luggage runs, and sometimes those can pay really well.
Especially if people are afraid. That's why I do the longer mileage ones, because people are afraid to take that longer run because it is more time, but it's all highway. 90% of it's highway, and your cost is through the floor. Especially now that I got the Tesla.
I've been tempted to drive out to Seattle and do that just once for one day and just see how I did. So the only thing that I could see kind of going sideways is the having to pay for parking. How do you get around that?
It's $5 for mine at the airport, and typically Delta and American Airlines, they reimburse it right in the app after it processes.
Okay,
so
that's
that being out the $5-10 if I go there twice in the day, it's no big deal.
Okay. Have you ever thought about doing a video on
I
that?
actually have.
Thought about it. Time to edit is my big thing.
I actually have a question for Red. I feel like Red, you are like the guru on Instacart. So is there any advice you can give anybody with like Instacart or any tips that would make it better for some people to go shopping?
Uninstall it.
Yeah. So
That's Steve's answer.
That is Steve's answer.
a trick that I learned on my own, like I have seen no videos about it, but you are taking a gamble, is I will break up a stack. Normally on a stack, like one of them is going to be really far away, and that order typically has the least amount of items. If you message support in the app, they will drop it for you. You keep the one order you want. I've never been burned on this, not once, but your cancellation rate is not affected at all. Now I have the order I wanted, I do it, and I go.
So if you can't,
I'm going to have to try that. I did not know that.
There's so many orders on the app that are not attractive, right? Because it's 12 miles when in reality, the person that lives 9 miles away only has 3 things. So you're not making, they didn't tip well. And to do a stack on Instacart, I mean, that additional base pay is what, $2 or $3? That's it. Also, if it's a peak pay, like an extra $5 for the order, if you break it up, you're still getting that full peak pay.
Now, when you're doing Instacart, are you running Instacart along with DoorDash and like all of the other apps, or are you trying to choose the time of day you're doing one over the other?
Now, I typically have 3 apps on at a time. So I run DoorDash, Instacart, and Uber Eats at the same time. Uber Eats is pretty slow for me, and usually I only do Uber Eats if there is a surge. Here's another tip that we do, except for Booth because he only does DoorDash. So if you have RideShare in your Uber app, what we do on this team is we turn on Uber Pets because you're almost never going to see an Uber Pet run. But if there is a RideShare surge and you've got Uber Pets turned on, you are also going to pick up that surge on your delivery orders.
Really?
Yeah.
So, okay, hold on.
I got it today for a shopping order. I bought 3 things. I bought 3 bananas, a bag of potato chips, and a case of soda. Total trip was 4 miles. When the guy gave me an additional $5 tip, I made $29.04.
So if I'm understanding correctly, if you can do RideShare, enable Uber Pet, and even if it starts surging, even if it's a delivery, you will still get the surge.
Correct.
Huh. Just taught me something new. I
didn't
have
know that.
Uber X, never even turned it on.
Same here.
So so when it's surging, would it only be surging for like Uber Pet, or would it be, sorry for my ignorance, I've never done RideShare, so this I don't know.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? My earbud fell out.
So is it surging for Uber Pet specifically, or is it just surging for RideShare? And because
Surging for RideShare.
Okay, and because Uber Pet is part of RideShare, you're like, so you can have RideShare disabled but Uber Pet enabled?
Correct.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I've only ever received 1 Uber Pet offer, ever.
That's crazy. I didn't know you could do that.
Listen, one day, my highest, one day, it was a Sunday. It didn't happen. It was only a couple weeks ago. It kept doing a surge of $30. I made like $120 on Uber, like that, in I think 4 runs. One of them paid $39.40.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I know,
Just real
right?
quick, I just want to do some of the super chats real quick. So
Yeah. Thomas. Thank you.
Hey, Steve.
thank you.
Yeah, serious knowledge.
Y'all gotta hang out with
Steve
us on
with a bunch of E's in there.
Flow and you will find all this out.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you, man. So I'm
I
just
think our
still kind
minds
of
just
blown
went
away.
like,
Yeah.
no, I think both of our minds just went.
I remember a trick back in the day. It doesn't work anymore, so I'm not gonna say what it is and get a bunch of people deactivated. But there used to be a way to keep your surge and still get rid of orders. But that's crazy. Thank you, Red.
You're welcome.
How do you guys set goals?
I have a spreadsheet.
Do you have like a specific dollar amount? You have a Cody. Do you have a specific dollar amount in mind that you want to earn for the day, or is it like hour by hour? How do you guys go about this individually?
I have a goal for a day most of the time, and typically during the week I split it with my wife.
Okay.
It's purely driven by just covering our needs, covering our bills.
I'm like
Okay.
that a little bit. I'm paying off. I'm like with Gign. I'm paying off my debt and stuff right now too, and I have my daily goal, which is $200 to $300. I'd like to make in a day. I'd like to make like $500-600, but being realistic, $200 to $300 for a realistic goal. But then I have a weekly, I have a yearly, and then I have like, this is how much I owe and how much can I pay off on it type goal too. So there's short-term and very long-term goals I have.
I want Boots and Red to answer this, and then I want to come back to Dashing Fellon last because I want to ask him the same question with a slight twist. So, Red, how do you have like a daily goal in mind or like an hourly goal? How do you go about it?
I like to make 200 a day. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I don't stop. So like if I get to the 200, I don't turn my stuff off and go home. I keep working. I work based on what makes me comfortable. Like, I don't like to work in the dark. So now that we've had the time change, I'm coming home usually at 5 or 5:30, which means I'm supposed to get up earlier and start my day earlier. That hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. It'll happen next week. But
Okay.
yeah, I'd like to make $200. And so I will, if it's a slower day, I will adjust the orders I take to meet my goal, right? Like, seriously, like, I don't like to do it. I hate it, but I will take a 425 going 3/4 of a mile. And when I started to do that, what I learned was usually they will stack me with another 425 or $5 going about the same distance. So now I'm more at what I would prefer to take, $8 or $9 for 2 miles, So
Okay.
I make modifications based upon how the day is going.
Okay. And how about you, Boots?
Oh, well, it's just trying to outdo myself. So I'm my only competition is me. So every day, my morning goal is 2 before 2, depending on when I start. But in my mind, it's still 2 before 2. I started at 8 o'clock this morning, and I still want to make 2 before 2. But I know I need 4 hours to make $100. So I just want to beat myself. I want to do better the next day than I did the day before. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I want to do better than I did last year. So I want to make more than 114. I'm going to make more than 114. I'm going to make more than 114, but my goal, like I said before, my goal was to make 100,000 this year. I exceeded that last year, so now I have to exceed my goal last year that I had for myself this year. If it makes any sense.
Okay, for sure. And so finally, I want to ask the same question to Dashing Fellon, but like I said, I want to throw a little bit of a twist in there. So you're in California. So you've got Prop 22. How do you set goals for yourself, and does the Prop 22 pay affect how you approach your goals?
The Prop 22 pay does not affect how I do anything in terms of goals, order acceptance, anything like that. How I drive, nothing like that. I set goals. I usually set like the $200, same around $200 a day goal. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get way over it, but depending on the catering apps I get. And then I like to set like a weekly schedule. Since I do this full time, I like to set like a loose schedule in 3-hour blocks when I think it'll be busy. But sometimes like you'll have to make a call, like drop one block because it's not busy, and come back out another time, something like that. With DoorDash, I'm real strict with it because I think it's like keeps track of this stuff. If I turn it on, I keep track of what time I turn it on. And then if I set a goal, like I'll set a $25 goal, but like a $20 an hour minimum, like in hours I've been out minimum. Okay. And so if I don't hit that, I stop the app and I end the dash, and then I'll take a break, go home, take a break, couple hour break, or come back out when it's busy or something like that, and then I'll start it up again, and then I'll notice I'll get better orders the next shift out. And then sometimes, now that I've done that so many times and I've done like almost 2,000 deliveries on them, doing that all the time, I'll notice like I'll about to hit the 2-hour mark, and then it'll send me an order that takes me exactly up to $20. And I'm like, I guess I'll take it. This will take me 10 minutes and it'll take me up to my minimum, and like, so I think it keeps track of that stuff for real. But that's pretty much it.
So do any of you guys have, a business mindset? Like, what am I trying to say? Like, think like a business. Like, do you run your days like you're running a business, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
All day long, for the most part. I mean, if you treat it like a normal job, you're clocking in, you're clocking out. You're limiting yourself. It's the way I feel. If you treat it more like a business mindset, sometimes a business knows when they, you call it for a day, or if you need to push it more, because if you have people coming in, like say you're running a just like a normal business where somebody comes in and comes out, if you have customers that are coming. So in our case, we have customers that are coming to order food, order different products, different things outside of food. Even if they're there and they're willing to order and they have the time that's there, you definitely have to look at it as a business. If you look at it like a job, well, it's 5 o'clock, time to clock out and go home. But I understand also, you don't want to be out there 24 hours a day working either. Some will, some won't. So you want to try to accomplish what you want to accomplish in a set time also. So I've learned to split that a little bit for myself. I have my $200 a day goal. So I'll drive 45 minutes to an hour away to make my $200. Now, once I make $200, I'll come closer to home. And I might still work, but I'll be more casual about it. I'll be, not so much, so I can be more relaxed about it but I'll still continue to make money at times. Or if I just want to come home, I'll come home.
So what, in your guys' opinion, is one of the most common mistakes that drivers make?
Not researching and not being willing to experiment in different areas.
Entitlement.
I let DoorDash take me where it wants some nights. Whenever I finish an Amazon route, I turn on DoorDash there. That's why I do Top Dasher, because I never know in which zone I'm going to be in any given day. And then I just work my way towards my preferred areas. I may find somewhere new.
That's me with curry. I'll do that. Courier will take me on places I've never been, and there's DoorDash zones, different apps, different things there, and I just like to see what shows up. And sometimes you'll find a decent spot for a while. I noticed Boots said entitlement. I know I get what you don't, you have to look for it. If you want it, you have to work for it. You have to look for it. The stuff ain't gonna just come to you. It really isn't.
A lot of drivers, not all, but a lot of them are stuck in the 2020, 2021 era. They don't want to evolve. They want to stay stagnant, and then they want to blame the AI. They want to blame the other drivers. They want to blame content creators, and they feel like when I say entitlement, they feel like they entitled to everything, and that's where they downfall at. And when I explain it to people, I say through my perspective, through my eyes, through what I go through. I don't say what someone else has done. I don't say Zach and Kimmy did it like this, so I have to do it like that. And I deserve this, I deserve that. No, I do it for me. And most drivers don't do that. They don't want to, like Cray Cray and Cody and Gign said, they'll travel. They don't want to travel. They don't want to go. I'm not saying go 2 hours, 3 hours, but if you have to, some will, some won't. That's what it is. It all plays a part into that entitlement zone. I've seen a lot of drivers walk into the store, shove the phone in someone's face. Like, that's rude.
Yeah, that's rude. Yeah.
That's rude. I seen them come in there yelling at the person. Like, all you got to do is hit unassigned and leave. So, but yeah, entitlement is the number one problem that most drivers have.
I think
I would say not like being flexible or being too comfortable. Like they won't do anything that's new to them or different. I'll give you an example. I personally hate to grocery shop, right? Like I don't like it at all. So when I would get shopping orders, I'd be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Um, and when I started to do them, I realized, well, one, I actually do like it because I turned it into a game, right? I now am on a scavenger hunt and I am racing against the clock. Well, that's why we have gig wars, right? I'm competitive. So that's how I made it fun for me. And then I learned how much money I could make at it. So get out of that like little square you have in your head and try new different things. I know so many drivers who are like, I'm not going to shop. I'm like, okay, you keep declining it. I'll keep doing it.
Isn't that the truth? So there's a question just real quick from Mike Morris. He says, are your daily dollar goals based on your gross or net? I know calculating gross on the fly is hard.
Oh, it would be net. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
I used to be net.
Yeah.
Now mine is based on gross. And
Mine is gross. Go ahead, Kyle.
Because I pretty much look at it that I'm writing everything off on my taxes anyways, because I didn't pay anything for taxes last year. So
like Mike's saying is gross is hard to calculate. I used to just say I'm going to spend this much a day on average. Well, I come to find out that there's days I'll spend much more than that, and then there's days I don't spend even part of that. So it wasn't really an accurate average. So I basically, every time I spend something or buy something, I subtract it from what my goal of the day is. And I found that I'm actually achieving my goal more often. And, say you make $250 in a day, but then you go spend 150 of it. You went home with $100. You feel like you didn't even accomplish anything. But if you pay attention to everything you're spending in the moment, those little things will add up. You want to go get a coffee, you want to go to a gas station and pick up a snack, or go into the grocery store, or go to a restaurant. All those things throughout a day are going to add up and add up. And, I'm not saying to keep, take a chart and keep track of everything, but just once in a while, it's a good idea to just kind of see what are you spending on an average in a week. On a day, some days I noticed if it's colder or warmer, the cost may be different too. And I even factor my gas in there. And after I started factoring even gas, you can really look and see, it's like, wow, I actually spent that much money, but then it makes me look at it differently. Now I want to make this much in a day. I want to make this much in a day. So I have to make more than that in order to get that. Now, when I talk about my earnings or whatever, that's usually based on that. Yes. But in reality for myself, I keep track of it based on a gross.
So
Can I
do
answer
you
about the
guys?
mistake?
Yeah.
The
Oh, go
biggest
ahead.
mistake. I think the biggest mistake that people make, other than the thing about areas, like not wanting to travel to another area and try out another zone and stuff, other than that, what other people said is that thinking you work for these companies,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
Oh
thinking
yeah.
that you're an employee of Uber or you're an employee of DoorDash. No, you're your own employee, and you are using these apps as a tool to give you gigs, right? And you get to pick what gigs you want to do. So and you might have to play certain games on certain apps, like the acceptance rate game, if you want to stay top dasher and maintain your priority on DoorDash, yada yada yada. You might have to do that to play some certain games on your apps, but you do not work for these companies, So when you think of it like that, it makes it easier to decline bad offers and stuff like that.
At what point do you guys just say enough is enough? I'm unassigning the order.
Depends on the value of the order, I guess.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So, let's say you accept an order that's going, we'll call it 2 miles, that's paying $10. You've been waiting 5 minutes and you're kind of starting to think, okay, at what point am I leaving without this order? Basically what I'm looking for is your thought process with unassigning.
Well,
As
it
my
depends
wife
on.
said, how rude the staff is.
That's what I was gonna get at.
That's what I was about to say. Like, it depends on the establishment. Like, if I'm in there and it's comfortable and everybody, first of all, if I walk in and you greet me, I'm okay. But if I walk in and you look at me like I'm small, I'm leaving. I'm gonna unassign it right away because I know what your attitude is. Like, I don't. If I stay in there more than 5 minutes, I'm already invested. So 9 times out of 10, I gotta stay because I'm already
Yeah.
done wasted 5 minutes of my time. But if I'm in there and I walk in and the attitude is bad, I'm out the door. I'm not, because I don't want to argue with you, make your day even worse, because what you going through has nothing to do with me. And then I might be missing that lopper, as y'all call it, that lopper that I could have by taking this $10 order. So, but it's basically the merchant and how the employees treat me when I walk through the door.
I make if my CR is where is higher than 95 and it's the end of the month, or whatever, or it's the beginning of the month or whatever, I decide whether I'm gonna unassign the order, how long I'm gonna be before I ever enter the store, and I go by the time. So for $10, right? Since I want to make $25-$30 an hour, I would go a third of an hour. I want to spend 20 minutes on this order max, right? 2 miles would be 2 minutes of driving, maybe 3. So I have 17 minutes basically that I would wait on the order for $10, maybe. If, like you said, the restaurant seems like they have things in process, but and then I would ask for an ETA right when I get there and probably try to unassign the order right away if it was looking like if it was taking longer than that. Or
now all of you guys are in the LOP program, right?
yeah.
Yes.
So you guys have to maintain a certain rate in order to stay in the LOP. Yes. So you ever get to 95%, you're like, oh man, I have to stick this one out.
Only in the end of the month.
I have once, and I didn't like it.
I mean, right now mine's 92% completion.
That's too high.
So yeah,
I do got one more thing to say. If it's a plus sign, I'm just gonna shut up and be quiet.
Okay. One of my
I've unassigned a plus sign.
I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but my highest paying DoorDash order was $190. It came in as $42 plus, and it was Chipotle. Now you ask, how long am I willing to wait? I waited 2 hours for this order.
I remember that.
Something told me not to leave. I'm going to have to say it's gut feeling, really. The staff were not the nicest in the world at all.
Never are.
They didn't even put it in boxes. It was all loose bags. It was like 300 burritos.
Whoa.
And they made it when I got there. Did not have it ready. When I go to deliver this, something's telling me to hold on to this order. After I deliver it and I hit the complete delivery and it goes up to almost $190, I'm like,
okay, then
well,
it's
that
worth
wait
it right
was
there.
well worth it.
Like, I'm not even pissed off at the staff anymore.
The order
Yeah,
came
right.
in. I didn't turn the app off, and the order came in as I was heading home. I was already 4 miles outside of the zone. Forgot to turn it off where the yellow bars at the top of the DoorDash app saying you've traveled outside of the zone. And I had to turn around and drive all the way back to do this order that came in. It was, I mean, at the $48, it was I think it was like $3 a mile, maybe. I mean, I was a little distance away. So, I mean, that was a drive. But then after I did it, it's well worth it. But then I've unassigned after 5 minutes waiting on a Buffalo Wild Wings order because the staff didn't even want to. They kept wanting to go play on their cell phone. And I knew the order was never coming. So I don't, you ask that. I waited 2 hours for a Chipotle order that paid like that.
So
I didn't know it was going to pay that till after.
I got another quick tip for you guys, anybody in the chat. So something that I've found works well when you're waiting at a restaurant, if you say realistically, how long is the wait? Just adding the word realistically almost always gets me an honest answer.
That's what I do every time, pretty much. I try to like go in there and say, how long is it going to take realistically, or like you're saying, like, or try to say it real soft, like, and if they say 5 to 10 minutes, I'm out of there. On the smaller orders, because I know that means 15 minutes. Yeah.
So, Cody, was that your biggest order you've ever done?
On DoorDash, yes. My biggest I've ever done was close to $400 on curry. And it was I picked it up at around 5:30 at night, and I had to deliver it at 7 a.m. the next morning. So they paid me to hold it overnight.
Cody, wasn't that the same day as the Chipotle order?
Yes, it was. The day I delivered that order,
wow.
I went to a different zone. I was, working there for a little bit, and then I came back into my normal zone, and I figured, let's just turn it on and see what happens. Declined a few junk orders. And I'm like, I'm going home. When I went home on the way home, that's when that Chipotle order came in. And I was like, this is too good to be true type order. And it was to me. And then today, or not today, it was 2 days ago, I'm right by Chipotle again. And they send me, and I wasn't even trying to get an order at 9:45 in the morning of all. And I go deliver it, and it's paying me like $160. And it just went a couple miles though. And it was ready. Like they're carrying the boxes to my car for me on that one.
That's
so
crazy.
It's a hit and a miss between things like that. Something could be ready just like that, and then the next day it could be a 2-hour wait. But I still lean towards gut feeling and the way the staff treats me.
So this is going to be my next question for all of you guys. What is the biggest order each one of you guys has ever had?
For me, was also Chipotle. It paid, I think the total payout was $109. And that day I had 2 Whoppers back to back. So I think I made like about $160 in an hour.
Damn.
On DoorDash, I think it was $70 on a sushi order.
Ooh, impressive.
My biggest DoorDash order was $122.50. It was a shopping order, 52 items at a grocery store. I got the shopping done in about an hour. It took like 20 minutes to check out, and 15-minute drive maybe. So Yeah, $100 tip, $22 base pay or whatever.
That
So,
customer knows
Nice.
what's up.
Exactly.
Nice.
but
Boots, what about you,
it
man?
was funny, right? It came across as 121.50 plus, right? So like DoorDash is the only app that can make you feel let down over $100 tip, right? Because it only went up $1. And like I was like, well, how much is this gonna go up? 121 plus?
My excuse me, mine was $280. It was a shopping order.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was a shopping order. It was during Christmas of 2021, and I took it. I accepted it for $100, and I shopped it to have 4 buggies full of stuff. I pulled up, started unloading it. The guy, like my wife and his book, he's saying the words and stuff. He handed me some money, and I didn't really pay attention to it. Got in the car, it was $150,
damn.
Wow.
and then he tipped me on the app 30, so it came out to 280.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
That
there's
was
some
my
customers that just make it all worth it.
Do you
Yeah.
ever feel like at that time when someone tips you that well, like you should go back to the door and like say thank you?
I tried to, but the ironic part about it, I tried to go back, but they live in an apartment where you can't go, and then once you leave, the number goes away. You can't text them or nothing. But I know them. It's Tom and Gretchen. I know them because I deliver to them all the time. And when
I
next
never
time
forget my high tip for customers.
yeah, the
man.
next
yeah.
time,
No.
next time I seen him, I was like, "Thank you, I appreciate it." And yeah, they always tip well though. They always do it. But that day was like, whoa. I also
That's
had a
awesome.
$200 order for 6 bottles of champagne.
Nice.
It was a bachelor party, and they ordered 6 bottles of Dom Perignon. The receipt came out to $1,500, and they gave me $200 tip.
Oof.
Man, talk
And that
about
was-
expensive
I'm
taste.
like,
And I bought that at, and I bought the Dom
Champagne taste.
Perignon. I bought the Dom Perignon at Safeway. I bought it at Safeway. Yep.
That's like the kind of moment where I'm always tempted to be like, hey, can I come hang out?
I've been asked to hang out with people. I've been asked a lot of stuff. I just decline it because I don't want to take the chance on ruining what I got.
That's fair. I've never done it, but they've
I'm
never
just
been
curious.
cute. So
Were the associates at the store like, you're buying
No.
5 bottles?
No, it was 6. It was 6. The lady was so like, she started to be, I walked in, I was, shopping, and she was like, because they had to keep the last 3 in the back. She running around acting like they didn't have it, but the store manager I knew, and I had seen him. I'm like, look, she been looking for this order, these last 3 bottles for like 20 minutes. Can you help me? And he like, they right there in the office. When the office got the last 3 bottles and help me get out of there. But she didn't want to sell me. She didn't want to sell me the last 3 bottles. I don't know why, but she had an attitude. But I'm like, I'm not leaving. The guy want the order. I didn't know it was gonna be $200, but he want the bottles. I'm gonna get it.
yeah. So I think we're about ready to wrap up here. So we forgot to mention this in our last show. So for the time being, we are going every other week. So there will be no show next week, but you can catch us the following week. And then we're going to follow that pattern for the time being. Let's go in line and have everybody kind of wrap up and remind people who they are and where they can be found. So Gign, let's start with you. I think you're muted, my friend.
Yeah, muted on my mic. So yeah, I'm Gign the Great North on YouTube from Minnesota. Working on paying down $500,000 in debt, and we're hopefully start actually making content here regularly.
It's a good niche to be in. Boots.
I am Boots at Dash Your Life Hawaii. I am the 114. I'm just gonna say I'm the 6-figure dasher. I can be found on Instagram at Dash Your Life Hawaii. I can be found on TikTok at 6-Fig Dasher. I can be found on Facebook at 6-Fig Dasher. Aaron Ronald Cialis for Life Coleman. And I also can be found on YouTube at Dash Your Life Hawaii. I have I have an article dropping. I have 2 articles coming out, but I have one coming out December 7th in the Hawaii Business Magazine, and I have another one coming out in January for delivery drivers of Hawaii. I have 2 podcasts coming up. One's December 7th, and one is December 18th, I do believe. The one December 7th is with the RideShare Rodeo.
Okay.
So
All right.
those are and I'm gearing up. Well, I'm already geared up. We'll be doing 20 hours on Saturday. It's time for war. Let's get it.
All right. Dashing Fellon.
I'm the Dashing Fellon. I'm an ex-con gig delivery driver. I'm an ex-addict too, and I now I just do gig work full time. I also do YouTube. I can be found on YouTube. If you go at Dashing Fellon or just search the Dashing Fellon, you'll be able to find me. I do ride-alongs and I go on live with all these guys all the time. So, and that's about it.
All right. Cody.
And I'm Cody. You can find me typically over at Gig Wars. And if I'm just always out working, typically paying off debts, doing all that. And I enjoy time with my wife and stuff. A lot of times we're out there together. Sometimes we're doing our own things, but always fun and stuff.
All right. And Red.
I am Red. You can always find me at the Gig Wars official channel. We also launched a new channel, Gig House Official. We'll tell you guys more about that later. I sure would love for everybody to come hang out with us this weekend and cheer us on. It will be a lot of fun. I promise you, you will hear a lot of cursing, swearing, jokes. You will see us doing orders we would never normally do just to get it in. And there will be a lot of laughs. So please come hang out with us. Cody, what time are we going to be starting that stream, you think? Like 6
Probably
a.m. Eastern, maybe?
either that or even earlier.
Yeah, so we'll post what time it'll start, but yeah, we would love for everybody to come hang out with us.
Gig Wars Official. It's available on iOS and Android. If you want to challenge somebody that you know, like I can make more money than you, and they're like, no, you can't, there's a way to put it to the test.
Zach, you're going down.
All right, Kim. All right, we'll see. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. The knowledge is incredible, and thank you. You guys seriously dropped some knowledge bombs on us. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. So we will not see you next week. We will see you the following week.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Yeah,
Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.